welcome to this episode of Pardon Your French podcast in partnership with Coppercock Gin Distillery. We're sitting here with our empty bottle.
That was my fault.
Yeah. And the slow gin that we are working our way slowly through.
Oh, I know. That's potent, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like a really sweet sipping gin, I think. Like, you only have a tiny bit.
Yeah, I don't do it like
a cocktail with it or whatever.
Right, okay. Well, I did try.
But
I was giving everything a go the other night. So it's been a week here in the Charente. If you're catching up with us, we didn't put out an episode last week. We'll explain during this episode as to why. But how has your week been? And I'll tell you about mine.
Let's see. What happened so far this week for me? It was Pancake Tuesday. So Pancake Tuesday, or chandeleur is what they call it. Chandeleur. That was what they call it in French. Where you make crêpes. You eat them all Tuesday. It's like in preparation for, coming up with Lent and Mardi Gras and all that stuff. So we're all well on our way into the spring.
Yeah.
So it is like the turning point. It's like a welcome to the idea of being able to.
Yeah. I literally cannot wait for that. I've got one daffodil in my garden right now, and it is like the best thing ever. It makes my heart sing. So every morning I come outside before all the chaos of the day, and I have like a coffee, and I just look at my daffodil right now. Just go, I've got one, but I'm like, that one has given me so much joy and hope for. I started off the year going like 2026 gonna be the best year ever. And it's just been so far
one
terrible in 1 month. So so we're recording this on Friday, because last Tuesday I was at a funeral, sadly. So I thought this episode I would mention things that I've taken away from it, just to highlight to you guys, because actually, when I moved to France, not for 1 second did it ever cross my mind that I would be going to a French funeral.
Yeah.
And so I've only been to 2 funerals in my life in England. One was my nan, and it was absolutely horrific at a crematorium.
Yeah.
And then obviously my brother passed away 2 years ago, but I didn't actually go back for his funeral. And I have to say, I'm not very good at funerals. I just cry my heart out the entire time, and it affects me a lot. So I like to remember people, how I made memories with them and shared time with them. I don't like the whole ceremony thing.
Yeah.
It's just not my bag. But I went on Tuesday to a family friend's funeral. So first ever French funeral. And it was in a little local village. I was incredibly surprised that the plot of land was only €40.
Oh, wow. Just for the actual burial.
For the actual plot of plots. You have to buy the plot. Yeah, that was €40. And that's yours then for 50 years.
But you could dig it up yourself, or you could pay for somebody to dig it, or are you required to dig it? Do you know?
No, I don't. No, it's up.
It's the plot itself. You could buy ahead of time.
Yeah,
I get it for 50 years. So.
Yeah, you could. But the funeral is about 4,000, so it's probably similar prices to what it would be in England. I mean, my brother was cremated, and I think that was about 3,500. But one of the can you hear that fly?
Did you firelight go back? I can see him.
Look at you. Normally there's 2 together because I'm on a second nut. So if you're listening and you can't hear it. So in England, when you pass, there is a bit of a delay.
Yeah, around 2 weeks.
Yeah, from the time you get buried. One of my other friends, her sister-in-law passed away on Boxing Day, and it's only her funeral yesterday.
What?
Yeah, because it sounds awful, but there is a backlog.
Yeah.
But in France, you get buried within 7 days.
Yeah.
Which it took me a little bit by surprise. Not what I expected, but then I didn't actually have expectations. But I was like, oh, like okay, seems quick, but having now been through that process, I think it's a great way to go, in the sense of everything's organized really quickly, and it doesn't drag it out.
And you don't really have time to think and dwell on it. Like, it was going to be a month before your husband or your wife were buried.
Yeah.
You would, it'd be really hard to have that kind of lingering thing for over your shoulder, over your head for that whole time, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was so we stood outside and, eulogies and things like that, and some music. And on the actual day of his passing, there were so many people in that house. It was like a very overwhelming experience. Like, obviously the pompiers come out first, and then the doctor comes out to certify the death. But amazingly, the local mayor turned up with her deputy, and the deputy was fluent in English.
Oh, that's good.
And the mayor couldn't speak a word of English, so between them, they kind of got everything translated. And obviously, you have to be so accurate with that kind of information that you're giving that they write down, because it goes on death certificates and everything.
Yeah. And we did kind of learn that a bit in Stefan's interview, when he was talking about, that's one of the roles of the mayor, is to go.
Yeah, and so I also learned, because the mayor was actually invited to the funeral, but they're not allowed to go.
Oh, really?
Which I found interesting, because I was like, wow, you were there at the passing, but you're not allowed to come and pay your respects. They're not allowed to go.
Wow.
Which was, so don't bother about you. You can invite me.
Did they say I'm not allowed to?
No,
go?
they're generally not allowed. It's a conflict.
Yeah.
For some reason. Yeah, but it is. But there was a lot of people, and you could see a big, again, our community get out in force, and then there was a lovely wake, and everybody turned up, and, we did a little celebration of his life and things like that. But there's so much to consider, and actually I feel the ripple effect from his passing has affected this community, not just because we've lost him and we'll miss him, but it's put everybody else's life in a bit of perspective. So it's made me consider, have I got everything in place for my passing or my dad's passing? What will happen with Carter, wills, inheritance laws, tax implications, it's like they can have
access.
Yeah, so that's one of the first things, because obviously I've got my private bank account, my dad's got his private bank account, but obviously you're not allowed to access each other's bank accounts.
Yeah.
But I'm like, is there money available for a funeral? Where do I want to be buried? Because I never thought I'd move to France and be buried in France.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, hopefully there's still time, right?
Yeah.
But it is one of those things, because, like, yeah, I've been to far more funerals since I've moved here.
Really?
And I know far more people who've passed away, like, even if I didn't go to their funeral, I've known them or been in passing, like, because I'm older than I was when I lived in the U.S. Like, it wasn't an everyday occurrence in the U.S. Like, whereas when you get here, there's an older population, generally retired people and stuff, and you socialize in age groups that are,
a bit older,
pass away. Yeah. And so, one of the things, and especially like in relationships and stuff, about how, I've got like the list of passwords, and like, if anything happens to me, you will need to have all this information. You might not be able to figure out how it works, but you could hire someone. They will be able to help you access your bank accounts, pay your taxes, file your death certificate in the first place. Because I do remember when Simon's dad passed away, the nightmare of the banking system.
Yeah.
For his mom, they were married.
Yeah.
And going to the bank, and he had been sick for a long time. She had been his power of attorney for a long time. But it was that, he's actually passed away. I need to close his bank account when we need the death certificate. Okay,
Yeah, there's lots of boxes to tick, boxes to fill. And I found that completely overwhelming, not just because it was all in French, because obviously our community, a lot of them who were there helping are completely fluent, but I was like, you don't even have time to digest, grieve, or mourn.
Yeah.
It's just all happening before your eyes, and there's nothing you can do. Just be sat listening to things that you don't want to hear about, or you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was an awful lot, but like I say, it's put the spotlight on my life and going, have you got this in place? Because I did, like I say, know a funeral's 4,000. You know what I mean? So you need to have money for my dad's funeral, money for my funeral. You know, how would Carter fare? Would his dad have to come and get it? You know, so many logistics now that I'm starting to make a plan for, because it sounds awful to plan for your death, but actually the burden on the people that are left behind picking up the pieces, if your car is or their vehicle, the person who's passed, their vehicle's in just their name, you can't then sell it. You know, you've got to go through the whole car greed process. Every little thing that you need to function on your day-to-day life is affected, especially if you've got no cash to hand, you can't access bank accounts, vehicles, insurance.
Yeah.
It's endless. Yeah. It's like,
if you have anyone in your life who's taking care of any kind of administrative things, for you or your relationship or whatever, and they're no longer there, it's a lot to pay attention to.
Yeah, it is an awful lot, and you have to be so careful and considerate. But nobody wants to face their own mortality, but it is a reality.
It is.
And you just have to be bold enough and brave enough. And so after the funeral, like at the wake, a couple of me and my friends were talking, and I was like, do you know what song you would want to be buried to?
They had this conversation the other day too.
Wow. And one of them was at the end wanting to have the hokey cokey. And I was like, that couldn't actually be more of their personality summed up in one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then I was like, who would I like to go out to? I don't know.
We're out about it, to be honest.
But nobody ever wants to.
No. But I mean, Simon said loads of times before, and he changes his mind every once in a while. He goes, no, don't want that anymore. Change my mind. That's too sad. I want this now or whatever. But I'm always like, I'm just one of those, I struggle with like picking a favorite. So I'm like, how would I pick a song I think that represents me?
Your entire lives.
Yeah.
I mean, typically in England, when you go to a funeral, everybody is in like their best dressed black outfit, aren't they?
Yeah.
Whereas I did, but the person who passed, they were, quite they like colourful shirts, and there wasn't actually a dress code from the family. They put that out there, but I was quite surprised that French people would just literally go to work, then go to a funeral in what they're wearing, and then go back to work again. And I was like, wow, I don't think that happens in England. If there's a funeral, an English person takes like an entire day,
different event,
a whole day event. It's not just a ceremony.
Well, the funeral that I have been to was of a French person. It was remarkably casual, and Simon and I went like dressed up like you would, dressed to the nines basically, in all our black mourning gear.
Yeah,
I like the veil. No, just but everyone was in like jeans and t-shirts, like maybe jeans and collared shirt.
Yeah,
but it was basically like remarkably casual, and he and I were both amazed and almost put off because we felt like out of place all of a sudden, thinking like, this is strange because I think part of the respect thing is getting dressed.
Well, yeah, like that was a bit of a culture shock for me, thinking, well, you've just been to work and now you've just turned up in your scruffs to a funeral. But I guess everybody does things differently. Like I say, it's one of those awful times, but now I'm trying to like prepare for and think about a bit more in detail. So I would absolutely encourage you, if you're listening and you're living in France, to go make a will.
Yeah.
Get advice from your bank, your tax, every little thing
Yeah.
that makes it as easy as possible for the people who are left behind, who are distressed anyway, to not be faced with even more problems.
Yeah.
To to access money or anything like that. It's a lot, but as we all know, you can't have life without death and things like that. The community spirit has come out in such full force, for the wake. Lots of people had taken the time and made food to bring with, or done food shopping runs or pharmacy runs, and you know what I mean. There's been a lot of hands on, and I think it was lovely to see, because it just not made the passing easier in the slightest, but it definitely helped feel like you weren't so alone.
Yeah.
And everybody's in it together. Like, everybody felt the pain and sadness. You know what I mean? So it's a bizarre feeling, and we're just obviously trying to come out the other side of it now. So, but that's why we weren't able to do a podcast last week.
Yeah. Life keeps getting in the way this winter.
I just can't even.
It's difficult time of year anyway. Something else will happen. Something else.
But I have managed to get both my vehicles back on the road. So, and thank you to my neighbour Fabrice for stepping in and being an absolute legend and fitting all the pieces that I didn't even know what they were. I don't know about you, but I'm classed as a sandwich perk. So obviously I have my dad to deal with, who's like a child. And then I have Carter. And my dad can't even open a text or an email without struggling.
Yeah.
So I do all his paperwork, and I hate paperwork. But he has been nagging me ever since we moved here about his driving license. That took 4 years. Job done.
Yeah.
Box ticked. So then he needed to get his passport renewed, and I was like, I will do that for you. Then he needed his carte séjour. I said, I will do that for you. Every day, at least 5 times a day, he will peck my head. Is it completed yet?
Mm.
So I did his passport, sent that off to the UK. And then I did his carte séjour. So his carte séjour application came back incredibly quick. So I'm in the department 16. So the Angoulême prefecture has been incredible, and they are the top performing department for this process. Well, within a week I had his application, and it's like, you need to bring copies of this, your passport, and I'm like, oh God, I've already posted his passport back to England, and his new one hasn't yet arrived. So this is a note to you: if you haven't got your passport, there is no point to going to your prefecture appointment to try and get your carte séjour, because they will basically go, here's your card, but you can't have it.
Yeah. You have to show your, pièce d'identité, and your passport's the only thing that works, because your carte de séjour is your other pièce d'identité that you do not have.
So the guy, Mr. Bell, I'll give him a shout out, the guy at the prefecture, because he was really sweet, and he did all the fingerprints. Yeah, he did as much as he possibly could do. And then he's like, just send me a photocopy directly to me of your passport once it comes back.
Nice.
And then you can come and collect your card. But we've only got a month to collect his card. So I'm hoping we can get his passport back in time.
Yeah.
To be able to get another rendezvous, to be able to go. But anyway, but when I was in there, it was very simple. There was a couple in before me who had literally both got their cards each, and they were in and out within 5 minutes. It was very simple. It wasn't stressful. So if you are going through your renewal process, just...
And you cheated as well. Then you used ChatGPT. Oh, it was your information.
I literally just took a screenshot of the form and just uploaded it. And I was like, what do I need to put? And it just came back and went, you need to put this. And because he's retired, You know what I mean? And circumstances or addresses haven't changed or anything like that. It was really straightforward. So I've got another 5 years before I have to do mine. So I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? So yeah, I need to really structure my time this year for the podcast, for my designs, for my working out, for my food prep, for my French, and just trying to be loving life. And I think spring is a season of change, and every year I embrace it totally.
Yeah.
And I'll find another fad to get into.
So, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned, and
Community again, it always comes back to that. Whenever I have a conversation about living in a different country or everything that I seem to do on my daily basis, it always comes back to, and every podcast episode always comes back to community.
yeah.
You know, and I love the fact that, you know, when we did the event at King Carr's a couple of weeks ago, like my little boy made friends with somebody else's little boy, and then they got a play date in the half term. And I'm like, do you know what? If we did do that event, they would probably have never met because we live quite far away.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't be meeting and having fun this half term.
Yeah.
You know, so every little bit helps.
Yeah.
There are so many people that you can check in on.
Absolutely.
And please do that. You will always be so glad you did.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on that note, this episode is dedicated to Walter Peckham. We miss you, and RIP.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.